Shalom, shalom. This is your brother Mashirah Yahar coming to you with another video. SOW, Son of the Way. Let me get to Esau. I want to just give all praises, all glory, all honor to Yahweh God, Yahweh Badar. Yahweh was with us in the wilderness, and there was no strange idol with him. Shout out to you. Shout out to you, brothers. May Yahweh continue to be with you. Shalom to you and to the few Aqua that's listening. The information that I'm going to be bringing out in relation to, again, this is dealing with the part 2 of the Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments breakdown, precept upon precept, precept upon precept series, and why we need to be able to go over the Ten Commandments. This is like the elementary doctrines that our forefathers failed to comprehend properly walk in, keep, protect, preserve, and we need to do this. We need to be the repairs of the breach, right? Right. There's a breach, and we have to repair that breach, and it's up to us, especially you brothers. You know what I'm saying? No offense to you sisters, but at the end of the day, it starts with the brothers. The men are the flock of Yahweh's sheep. Excuse me, I said that wrong. Shalakia. The men are the sheep of Yahweh's flock, right? And we have a responsibility as men, right? Because the Most High looks at the man, right? Yahweh looks at the man as the leader of the house, right? So it's the responsibility of the man, and it's time for us to be able to come together with this information in relation to the principles of the Torah, right? Not going to that stupid New Testament book. That New Testament is full of vanities and lies and deception, okay? Wickedness and abomination, right? Listen, I don't have any issues with the Apocrypha if it's not contrary to the Torah, right, which is the foundation of the Tanakh, right, the Book of Remembrance, so-called Old Testament. Old Testament is a false term. Okay. If it's not contrary to the Torah, right, it's good. It's acceptable. It's constitutional. Other than that, anything that's contradictory to the Torah needs to be stricken from the record. Stricken from the record of your mind. Stricken from the things that you need to be going over as an Israelite, right? So let's go ahead and get started. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to try to keep you too long on this particular video. The previous video, we went through Exodus chapter 2. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2 to 3, right? And now we're going to be going over verse 4. Let's just go back and do a quick review. Starting from verse 2. I'm Yahweh thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Verse 3, thou shalt have no other powers before me. Right? In verse 4, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Right? Let's go over this particular verse. And let's go over the different verses in relation to that particular verse to give us a better understanding, right? The precepts, the testimonies, right? Through thy precepts I get understanding, right? That's what Exodus chapter 32, verse 1. And when the people saw that Moses delayed to come down out of the mount, the people gathered themselves together unto Aaron and said unto him, up, make us powers, which shall go before us. For as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we will not what is become of him. I actually made another video, maybe 12 hours ago. Unfortunately, and then the sound was bad. But one of the things that I did say in that video was there was no reason for the people to rush to bring Moses down. Right, that was an opportunity. The Most High was giving them an opportunity to rest more. Right, spend time with their family, to be at rest, right? There was in Yahweh's rest at that particular time while Moses brings down our culture, our customs that the Most High power generated. It was, our culture is Yahweh made, everybody else culture is man-made, right? But the Most High gave us a culture that came directly from him. This was not no creation from no man. This was a creation from the Most High power. He that drove between the cherubim, he that lifted us up from the gates of death. All praise to Yahweh Khan. But our forefathers instead, when they was in the wilderness, went to Aaron to have him make them idols, right? Make them false powers or false gods, right? What we have to understand and drill down as men. We have to drill down and get a better understanding. We got to get a better understanding when it comes to what does this mean for us, and how do we as Israelites take this information and learn from what our forefathers did, right? So we don't repeat with the Most High. We don't repeat the same actions that our forefathers committed, so we do not offend the Most High power, right? Because we have done this on a repetitive basis. Like if you go through the book of Exodus, and you go through the book of Leviticus and the book of Numbers, right? And if you go through the book of Yahweh Shah, Joshua, right? And you go to the book of Judges and the book of Samuel, right? And the book of Kings, and you be able to see that information going back and forth and learning learning the principles of what can we do better from what our forefathers did, right? Here's the advantage that we have as Israelites today. You can go and get you a King James version or any Bible. You can go to the bookstore and buy it right then, right there. Our forefathers didn't have the luxury. On every way, they had to go to the Kahanayam, the priesthood, the Levites, and get that information on how they supposed to live before the Most High power on a consistent basis, right? Not everybody just had a scroll in the back, in their house, right? Having a scroll takes a lot, right? Because you have to have a lamb, and because it was written on lamb skin, right? There was no printing press, you know what I'm saying? And you have to have a scribe, and it took, it was very expensive to actually get a scroll, right? During those times. During the times of our forefathers when they was in the land, right? But now we have an advantage. That means that we don't have that much excuses anymore. We don't have any excuses anymore. Like almost really, not saying that we're going to be perfect, right? But we pretty much have to be as close as possible to perfection. For the simple fact that we have the commandments and the statutes and the judgments of the Most High power, right? We have the name now. We have the name of the Most High. We can call out to the Most High power, right? So we don't have that much excuses, but the Most High is merciful, right? Let's go to the next verse. Exodus chapter 32, verse 8. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They have made them a molten calf, and have worshipped it, and have sacrificed thereunto, and said, These be thy powers, O Yashara'el, which have brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. So this was what he that drove between the cherubim, Yahweh said to Moses, right? When the Most High said, Get thee down from thence, Moses, for thy people that thou hast brought out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. That's what the Most High power said. He that dwelleth in the cherubim, Yahweh. All praise to his set apart name. So again, going back to verse 1, right, of Exodus chapter 32, there was no reason for them to rush. This was the opportunity for them to be able to say, hey, to come together as a family, to rest, to they was in the rest of the Most High Power, Yahweh. They didn't have to work anymore, right? They just had to cook their food, right, or the manna that they were giving, on a consistent basis. I mean, the Most High gave them angels food, according to the book of Psalms. According to the book of Psalms, gave them angels food, right? And they tempted the Most High. They tested the Most High Power and tested them, right? We gotta learn from what our forefathers did, so we don't repeat the same things, right? Exodus chapter 32, verse 23. For they said unto me, make us powers, which shall go before us. But as for this Moses, the man that brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we what not? What is become of him? See, Aaron messed up pretty bad, man. Aaron should have sat them. Aaron should have said with his sons and with his Levites. It's like, hey, y'all need to sit down, wait till Moses get back. Go spend time with your family. Spend time with your children. Spend time with your brothers. And wait for the Most High Power, please. Wait patiently. We ain't got to go, hey, we got plenty of time. We can rest now. Chill out. You know what I'm saying? But Aaron made a terrible mistake, a horrible mistake. And I'm not here to judge Aaron. I'm not here to judge our forefathers. The Most High already did that. The Most High already judged our forefathers. I'm not here to rejudge them. I'm just here to provide this information for all of us so we can be able to learn from the situation that they did. So we don't repeat the same methods, right? So we don't repeat and walk in their statutes, but just the statutes of Yahweh Khan, Yahweh Badan. Now let's go to, I want to make a quick tangent and go to the book of Deuteronomy, right? I want to go to the book of Deuteronomy real quick and go to chapter 9, because this is in relation to the same event that happened, right? Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 13. This is very critical, right? This is what happened. This is just the review of what happened during that time of Exodus chapter 32. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 13, starting there. Furthermore, Yahweh spake unto me, saying, I have seen this people, and behold, it is a stiff-necked people. Verse 14. Let me alone that I may destroy them and blot out their name from under heaven. And I will make of thee a nation mightier and greater than they. Right? So the Most High was going to start all over with just Moses and destroy our forefathers. But thanks to Moses, right? Moses stood in the pathway between the Most High Power and us and interceded for us, right? With supplications, right? Asking for forgiveness on behalf of us, right? You know what I'm saying? But y'all want to lift up this idol of Christianity, Jeebus. Well, not y'all. I'm talking about they want to lift out idol shy and all of that. Talking about he died on some wicked tree. You know what I'm saying? Curses everyone that hangeth on the tree, right? So he was a cursed man. I mean, how plain is that? But anyway, that's why I say I salute Moses. We need to salute Moses for that, man. You know what I'm saying? Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 15. All praise to Yahweh Khan for Moses. So I turned and came down from the mountain, and the mount burned with fire, and the two tables of the covenant were in my hands. Verse 16. And I looked, and behold, ye had sinned against Yahweh Allah Hayak, and had made you a molten calf. You had turned aside quickly out of the way which Yahweh had commanded you. Verse 17. And I took the two tables and cast them out of my two hands and break them before your eyes, because we broke the covenant. Right there, that quickly. I mean, that quickly. I mean, it's like our forefathers really messed up, man. Sometimes I think, this is just me talking. Sometimes I think that our forefathers really did not. They just didn't have the heart for the Most High Power, Yahweh. They didn't have the heart, and we know that because in Deuteronomy chapter 5, Yahweh said, "Oh, if there was such a heart in them that they would fear me." You know what I'm saying? Right? Well, we're going to go to that after this. And I fell down before Yahweh, as at the first 40 days and 40 nights. I neither ate bread nor drank water because of all your sins which you sinned in doing wickedly in the sight of Yahweh to provoke him to anger. Right? Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 13. Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 19. For I was afraid of the anger and the hot displeasure wherewith Yahweh was wroth against you to destroy you. But Yahweh hearkened unto me at that time also, right? Remember in Ezekiel chapter 20, but he wrought for his name's sake, that his name should not be polluted among the heathen, right? Where he brought her forth, right? Deuteronomy chapter 9, verse 20, and Yahweh was very angry with Aaron. Hear that? Yahweh was very angry with Aaron to have destroyed him. And I prayed for Aaron also the same time, right? Aaron really messed up because he was the leader. Aaron was the leader. Aaron could have said, hey, as soon as they started asking for stuff like that, he could have called out, hey, get his sons, have his sons, hey, gather up the loyalists of Yahweh, and let's gather up the loyalists of Yahweh, and let us restrict these people until Moses get back. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, he didn't do that. These are lessons that we have to learn as a people. These are lessons that I have to learn as a people. We have to be able to come to this understanding and meditate on these things and talk about the problems and meditate on these problems and meditate on how we can create certain solutions when we get into situations like this. So we can be better. You know what I'm saying? So we can learn from these things. That's why it's so critical to meditate on the Torah day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. For then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. Right? Now let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 5 real quick. Now let's go all the way down. This is in relation to the this is dealing with the Ten Commandments as well. But I want to go to a specific verse. All right. Let's go. Now let's start from Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 23. Now we're gonna go to the end of the Ten Commandments in the book of Exodus, but I want to point out what the Most High Power Yahweh said concerning us, right? Deuteronomy chapter 5 verse 23. We need to get the full contents real quick. And it came to pass when you heard the voice out of the midst of the darkness, for the mountain did burn with fire, that ye came near unto me, even all the heads of your tribes and your elders. Verse 24. And ye said, behold, Yahweh Allah Hayanah, our power, hath showed us his glory and his greatness. And we have heard his voice out of the midst of the fire. We have seen this day that Allah Hayam does talk with man, and he liveth. Now, verse 25. Now, therefore, why should we die? For this great fire will consume us if we hear the voice of Yahweh Allah Hayanah any more than we shall die. Verse 26. For who is there of all flesh that have heard the voice of the living power speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we have, and lived? Verse 27, go down there and hear all that Yahweh Allah Hayanah shall say, and speak down unto us all that Yahweh Allah Hayanah shall speak unto thee, and we will hear it and do it. Right? That's what our forefathers said after the hearing the voice of Yahweh, the great glorious King of glory of Yahweh Ka, Yahweh Badad. right? Verse 28, and Yahweh heard the voice of your words when ye spake unto me. And Yahweh said unto me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, which they have spoken unto thee. They have well said all they have spoken. Verse 29, oh, that there were such an heart in them, that they would fear me and keep all my commandments always, that it might be well with them and with their children forever, right? We need to be praying that we have that heart. That's what I'm gonna make it my business to be able to pray for this. That there's such a heart in me. I fear Yahweh, but I want to fear Him more and more and more and more, because with the fear of Yahweh, you depart from evil, right? And when you fear Yahweh, see, the fear of Yahweh is the beginning of knowledge, right? It's the beginning of wisdom, right? But fools despise wisdom and instruction. And what is the wisdom and and what is the instruction? And what is the wisdom and instruction? It is in relation to the Torah. And as I said before, man, remember what Moses said. When we go to the book of Proverbs and when they talk about wisdom, all wisdom is referring to is the Torah. Okay, the Torah is your wisdom, and not it is your wisdom and understanding in the sight of the nation, that shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people. Right now, let's go back to Exodus chapter 20, verse 4. Let's go to the additional precepts. Exodus chapter 34, verse 17. Thou shalt make thee no molten powers, right? Which was the opposite of what our forefathers did, right? In Exodus chapter 32. Right? And let's get this clear. Molten images or molten idols and things of that nature, right? And so thou shalt make thee no molten powers or gods, right? So when you make that, when you have these New Testament Israelites, when they make this false Messiah, idol shy, right? When they make him, they think they're not committing they think they're not committing a abomination, right? They think they're not committing an abomination when they make the idols and images, right? Because they don't necessarily bow down to it per se, right? But they tend to this wicked book called the so-called New Testament, which is the strong delusion, right? They tend to that, saying that we have to go to this idol, and calling us Torah Israelites wicked because we want to seek the Most High Yahweh only and walk in His Torah only, not that stupid New Testament book, right? It's crazy. But anyway, Leviticus chapter 19, verse 4. Turn ye not unto idols, nor make to yourselves molten gods or powers. I am Yahweh Elohayak, right? Making a idol, right? Making this false Messiah. Remember, David is the Messiah, right? David is the Mashiach, not this idol shy character, JC, that our New Testament brothers unfortunately continues to lift up. All right. Leviticus chapter 26, verse 1. You shall make you no idols, nor graven image. Neither rear you up a standing image. Neither shall you set up any image of stone in your land to bow down unto it. For I am Yahweh Elohayak. Here's another thing that we need to consider, right? Anybody can become an idol, a graven image within your mind, right? It could be, I don't know. It could be your job, your career, your house, your wife or your spouse. It could be, what else it could be? It could be anything that you put before Yahweh, right? Yahweh should be number one in our lives, right? Number one is Yahweh. We have to be in great fear of Yahweh and let Him be your dread, all right? right? Because if we had that heart, we wouldn't do wickedness. That, like for example, if our forefathers had that fear of Yahweh, right, they wouldn't have committed the wickedness that wicked vanity that they did in Exodus chapter 32, right? They wouldn't have asked for no wicked idol going to Aaron to do that, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 15 to 19. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves. This is verse 15. For ye saw no manner of similitude on the day that Yahweh spake unto you in Horeb out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. Verse 19, unless thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun, and the moon, and the stars, even all the hosts of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them, which Yahweh thy power have divided unto all nations under the whole heaven, right? He divided that to all the other nations, right? Unto all nations of the whole heaven, right? These things. But Yahweh has chosen you, right? And set apart you, O Israel, as a special people unto himself. You're supposed to be serving him only, Yahweh. Increase be a set apart name. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 23 to 25. Take heed unto yourselves, lest you forget the covenant of Yahweh Allah Hayak, which he made with you, and make you a graven image, or the likeness of anything, which Yahweh thy power hath forbidden thee. For Yahweh, verse 24, for Yahweh thy power is a consuming fire, even a jealous power, or El. When thou shalt beget children, and children's children, and ye shall remain long in the land, and shall corrupt yourselves, and make a graven image, or the likeness of anything, and shall do evil in the sight of Yahweh Allah Hayak, to provoke him to anger. And unfortunately, we provoked them to anger. And unfortunately, we committed these abominations, right? And now we're in the land of our captivity. Now we are doing exactly what he that doubles in cherubim said, Yahweh, right? We're doing exactly what the Most High Power said we will be doing, since our forefathers commit all these abominations, right? Deuteronomy chapter 5, verse 8. Thou shalt not make thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the waters beneath the earth. You see, we Israelites, we have to be told this over and over. We have to master the art of being redundant with ourselves, not just with each other, but with ourselves. We have to constantly go over this information over and over and over, because we, unfortunately, are a stiff-necked people. And unfortunately, right? Unfortunately, the corrections that the Most High brought unto us when we were in the land, when we had the opportunity to seek the Most High, turn from our wicked ways, dwell in the land, so we would have the opportunity to be in our own land. But, unfortunately, that's not the case, right? When the Most High brought the prophets, he brought the prophets to tell them to come, return to Yahweh, return to the Torah, the commandments, the statutes, and the judgments, right? But in vain, he corrected us, right? In vain, he corrected us, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 15. And then we're going to end after we're going to do we're probably going to do a couple more verses, and then we're going to do a part B of Exodus chapter 20, verse 4. Deuteronomy chapter 27, verse 15. Cursed be the man that maketh any graven or molten image, an abomination unto Yahweh, the work of the hands of the craftsman, and put it in a secret place. And all the people shall answer and say, Amen. Now this actually happened, right? Right? Again, we did everything that the book told us not to. We did everything that Yahweh told us not to, right? Our forefathers, right? Let's go to matter of fact, let's go back to that. Let's go back to that particular verse, and let's go to Ezekiel. Where's Ezekiel? Let's go to Ezekiel. Ezekiel's here somewhere. Not that. Here it is. Ezekiel chapter 8, verse 7 to 12. And he brought me to the door of the court. This is Yahweh bringing Ezekiel to the court. And when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Verse 8. Then said he unto me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had digged in the wall, behold, a door. And he said unto me, Go in and behold the wicked abominations that they do here. Verse 10. So I went in and saw, and behold, every form of creeping things and abominable beasts and all the idols of the house of Israel portrayed upon the wall round about. And there stood before them 70 men of the ancients of the house of Yashadael, and in the midst of them stood Jaazaniah, the son of Shaphan, with every man his censer in his hand, and a thick cloud of incense went up. Then said unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Yashadael do in the dark? Every man in the chambers of his imagery? For they said, Yahweh seeth us not. Yahweh hath forsaken the earth. Right? It's complete foolishness. It's complete foolishness of our forefathers, right? These are the things that our forefathers have committed, right? These are the things, right? This is the testimony, right? The testimony of the witness of what our forefathers had committed in relation to breaking the everlasting covenant, right? So here we are today. Let's go back to Exodus chapter 20, verse 4. And see if we can just do one more verse. And I'm also going to I'm going to end it with a particular verse in the book of Deuteronomy when it comes to us as a people, right? I always want to give some type of encouragement to us, right? We can always talk about problems, right? That's easy to talk about problems, but we need to provide solutions, right? And the solution in relation to this situation with our forefathers committed, right? The solution is pray to the Most High Power, right? Prayer, right? Constantly going over the Ten Commandments. Go over the Ten Commandments. Then go over the references in relation to the Ten Commandments. Go over the different verses that's in relation to these specific verses, right? We're going to go over everything. I'm going to go over everything. Well, so we can go through this together. And obviously you can go through this stuff, go through this information by yourself, of course, and which you should. Nevertheless, I'm going to continue to bring out this information because some of you brothers already are in the know on what you have to do. Some of you are in the know on what you need to do, and we have to how we need to take strides and protecting the commandments, or protecting the precepts and the statutes and judgments of the Most High Power as much as possible, right? Continue to walk in the way and continue to bring out information, because the information I'm bringing out it's not difficult information, right? I'm just bringing out just the Ten Commandments right now, right? The basis, the elementary teachings of the Torah, right? I'm not bringing out any complex information because our people still don't understand that they need to live the Ten Commandments, right? And not only that they know that they probably do need to know that they live the Ten Commandments, but that they need to drill down more information in relation to the Ten Commandments, right? Because obviously our forefathers didn't get it. Obviously we lived in the land for years and years and years and years and years hundreds and hundreds of years, and our people still didn't get it. They still worship idols. They still went through abominations and transgressions, right? So obviously there's a misconnect. Maybe we're not spending a lot of time on this that we should. We should be spending a lot of time on this, right? Our people are still in idolatry. They're still is like, for example, you got the Nation of Islam, right? You got Nation of Islam that know that they're Israel, but they still, they're still a Muslim. Like, how do you explain that? Like, brother, to my Nation of Islam, brother, man, you know that you're an Israelite. Why are you a Muslim? Why are you calling yourself a Muslim? Right? New Testament Israelites, you know that you're an Israelite. Okay, great. That's great. And you going out on the street corners and all of that and talking to our people and bringing them back to the knowledge of who they are. That's great. It's wonderful things that you're doing. But you got to drop that stupid idol, right? Because these are the same problems. The more things change, the more they stay the same. There's nothing new under the sun. The same things going on, right? We gotta spend a lot of time in the basics, man. It's that simple. You got the book of Jubilee, you got the book of Enoch, you got the book of the Watchers, you got the Dead Sea Scrolls, you got all these books, right? That we can go back and we should get these books and we should read them. But until you understand the breakdowns and completely the 5 books of Moses, man, you don't need to advance in these other books, right? Because you still got Israelites that think Isaiah 53 is talking about this idol of Christianity, and it's not, right? It's like, and I'm gonna make videos. I'm gonna lead up to doing Isaiah chapter 53 breakdown, right? But I'm going to make videos in the future, not right now. I want to get through the 10 Commandments. We need to get down to the elementary teachings of the Torah, right? That Yahweh has given us, right? I want to break down the concept bearing the iniquity. Who bears the iniquity of the congregation of Yahweh? The people of Yahweh, the children of Yashara'el. It's the Levites, right? It's the Kahanayim. They are to bear the iniquity of the sanctuary, which is the congregation of the tabernacle of witness, aka the tabernacle of the congregation, right? We're the Levites, the Aaronites, right? They're supposed to bear the iniquity of the people of Yashara'el, right? And they are supposed to be the one that make an atonement for the children of Israel, right? And Ezekiel, shout out to brother Calvin Israel, and shout out to brother Israelite Study Bible. Go to their channel, to you Israelites, to Israelites that need to get a better understanding of, hey, Isaiah chapter 53 is not talking about this idol. My recommendation is go to their channel, but I'm going to go deeper into in the book of Leviticus, or in the book of Exodus, in the book of Leviticus, and in the book of Numbers, to break down this information, because a lot of people don't really like to go through the book of Leviticus and the book of Numbers when it talks about the breakdowns of the sacrifices and the offerings and the principles and the procedures and the laws, right? It's the law of the burnt offering, the law of the sin offering, the law of the trespass offering, the law of the peace offerings, right? I want to go down and break down these particular laws, right? Excuse me. Because again, when we understand the Torah, and we have the background information and understanding of the Torah, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, then we can be able to understand exactly what Isaiah chapter 53 is talking about, right? We can understand it. We can really have a full grasp of what Isaiah chapter 53 is talking about. And who is it referring to, right? It's referring to the people of Aaron, the people of Levi. Ezekiel fulfills that, right? we have to go into that, right? We got to go into that history. We got to go into that information. We got to go into the commandments, the statutes, and the precepts, so you can understand that completely. And then you can throw away that understanding that Isaiah chapter 53, that's referring to that idol of Christianity. You can finally break down the house, the stones of it, and the timber thereof, and all the mortar of the house. Right? That house of understanding. You can destroy that completely and conduct a demolition. You know what I'm saying? So I want to go to this one verse and I'm done. I promise. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 33. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Bear with me, my people. There we go. This is my let me just exit out this with this particular verse. Deuteronomy chapter 33, verse 29. Happy art thou, O Yashael, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency? And thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. My people, my brothers, may Yahweh continue to be with thee. May Yahweh bless thee. May you continue in the Torah, the commandments, the statutes, and judgment, and may you meditate on it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that's written in it. For then he will make your way prosperous, and then you'll have good success. And finally, I want to give all praises, all glory, all honor to Yahweh Khan, Yahweh Badad. Yahweh was with us in the wilderness, and there was no strange idol with them. Shalom.